You know how some revenge stories end with fireworks, screaming, maybe even police sirens? Mine ended with a boarding pass, a belly full of baby, and a one-way flight across the Atlantic. She doesn't know the country. She doesn't know the language. She sure as hell doesn't know my address. And she will never meet her grandson. Let me back up a bit. My name's Daniel. I'm 34, work in systems QA for a mid-sized tech company, not exactly the stuff of thrillers, I know. But revenge doesn't always come from assassins or billionaires. Sometimes it comes from a quiet guy with a long memory and a very tired wife. Speaking of my wife, Emma is the strongest, kindest, most unfairly tested woman I know. And the reason I did what I did. We met by chance at a second-hand bookstore, one of those tiny places that smells like forgotten pages and burnt coffee. She was working the counter part-time, and I came in every Friday for a tattered paperback and whatever espresso-flavored sadness the place served. The first time we talked, she didn't smile, not really. You could tell she was used to apologizing for taking up space. I was drawn to that quiet sadness. Not in a fix-her kind of way. More like, I wanted to be the place she could finally rest. Fast forward a few years, marriage, a small apartment with a leaky faucet, and more takeout than I'd like to admit. We didn't have much, but we had each other. Sounds cheesy, I know. But for two people without real families, it felt like a miracle. Now, to clarify, when I say without real families, I mean it. My own parents had their rights terminated when I was 9. Drugs, neglect, the whole sad bingo card. I grew up in group homes and foster care, learned early how to disappear in a room. Emma wasn't much better off, though technically she had a family. One particularly venomous specimen, her mother, Diane. Oh, Diane. Imagine a poodle in pearls with the soul of a pit viper. That's Diane. Passive-aggressive? Try Olympic level. From the moment she found out Emma and I were getting married, she made it her personal mission to remind my wife she was marrying beneath her. Wedding day? She ordered the restaurant staff to leave halfway through the dinner. Claimed it was late and she was doing us a favor by saving money. Emma and I served cold pasta and warm drinks to our guests from behind the bar. Diane sat there sipping wine like she was at a 5-star resort. And the money? You know how people give cards at weddings? We counted maybe 1,000 in cash and checks that night. By the next morning, it was gone. Vanished. Diane said she must have thrown out the gift bag by mistake. Right? Then there was the honeymoon backpack. Emma had left hers at Diane's house overnight, packed and ready for a weekend hike. By morning, it had mysteriously disappeared, including the new boots, the travel kit, and the small stash of snacks Emma had giddily collected for weeks. Diane just shrugged. Must have gotten picked up with a Goodwill box. That woman had a talent for sabotage disguised as incompetence. But I let it go. Until Emma got pregnant. That's when the gloves came off. And Diane crossed a line I never let anyone cross. She flirted with me. Yeah, flirted. I was making dinner one night, Emma upstairs doing prenatal yoga. Diane came in, put her hands on my shoulders, and whispered, I kid you not, if she doesn't know how to take care of you, well, I do know a few tricks. I nearly dropped the pan. That was the moment I knew. We weren't going to fix this. We weren't going to talk it out. We weren't going to set boundaries. We were going to disappear. After that night, the shoulder touch, the whisper, the I know a few tricks, I went into what I can only describe as mission mode. I didn't tell Emma. Not yet. She was 7 months pregnant, already dealing with back pain, swollen feet, and the occasional hormonal spiral triggered by things like cereal commercials. She didn't need to carry this too. But me? I carried it like firewood. Stack by stack. I didn't scream at Diane. Didn't confront her. Didn't rage. That would have made me look unstable, and she loved making me look unstable. Instead, I smiled the next time she visited. Offered her tea. She declined, of course, said she didn't trust my cheap tea brands. Inside, I was already writing our escape plan. See, I work in systems QA for a mid-sized tech firm. Unremarkable job to most. But I'd quietly built a reputation over the years as the guy who got things done, who didn't complain, and who triple-checked every line of code before it hit the client. I was dependable, not brilliant, but in corporate culture, that's practically sainthood. Last year, my manager mentioned there was a satellite office in Ghent, Belgium, quiet city, strong engineering base, desperately short on staff. I turned it down at the time. Too far, too uncertain. Yeah? It felt like destiny. I reopened the conversation. Casually. Hey, if that Belgium thing's still available. They were thrilled. The relocation package was modest but covered flights and the first 3 months of rent. The salary translated well enough. I didn't need luxury. I needed distance. And here's the most important part, I set the timeline tight. We'd be gone before the due date. While Emma napped, I updated our passports. Researched maternity care in Belgium. Found an English-speaking OB-GYN. Reserved a tiny 2-bedroom apartment near a canal. I even booked a taxi from the airport that had an infant car seat just in case. Meanwhile, Diane kept calling. And visiting. Always unannounced, always critical. She told Emma our nursery colors looked like a spoiled avocado. Said the baby name we picked sounded like a cartoon character. One time, she dropped off a box of books and said, just so your child can be smarter than some people in this family. She looked right at me when she said it. Emma cried that night. Sat on the floor of the nursery holding a onesie and sobbing like a child herself. That's when I finally told her, what if we left? She looked at me like I'd offered her a spaceship. You mean, visit? I mean, move. New start. Just us. No more surprise visits. No more digs. No more gaslighting. She didn't even hesitate. Yes. Just like that, it became our plan. We changed our phone numbers. Deleted our social media. I told my boss we were cutting off all communication with extended family due to some domestic issues and that I didn't want our address forwarded under any circumstances. HR didn't ask questions. Good HR never does. I bought the tickets 1 week before departure. Emma was 33 weeks pregnant. Most airlines don't love letting pregnant women fly that late, but we had a doctor's note and Emma wore the baggiest hoodie she could find. We looked like a tired couple going on vacation, not refugees escaping a tyrant in pearls. The flight was long. The landing was smooth. Our son was born 3 weeks later in a quiet Belgian hospital with white walls and kind nurses. No one from Emma's past was there to ruin it. Just me, her, and a little boy with his mother's eyes and no idea how much peace had to be bought for him. And Diane? We never told her we left. We didn't even say goodbye. She called. She texted. She emailed. Left voicemails that started sweet, then furious, then panicked. We didn't answer a single one. Sometimes revenge is about confrontation. But sometimes, it's about removing access so completely that the absence itself becomes the punishment. She'll never know what he looks like. She'll never hear him cry or laugh or call someone mama. She'll never ruin another photo. Never accidentally lose a gift. Never whisper poison in a nursery. She won't even know the time zone. That's the revenge. They say when you leave something behind, really leave it, it takes time before you stop checking over your shoulder. That first month in Belgium, I checked constantly. Not for Diane, exactly. I wasn't expecting her to pop up behind a row of bicycles yelling about how the croissants were making Emma fat. But emotionally? Yeah. I still braced for her. Every knock on the door made my stomach flip. Every time Emma's phone buzzed, local number, freshly set up, I looked at her face like it was a live wire. I didn't say it, but I half expected Diane to have tracked us somehow. Like a Bond villain, but with Botox and a wine budget. She didn't. Of course she didn't. Because ghosts don't cross oceans. Emma slept better. That was the first sign. No more 3 a.m. panic spirals about what her mother would say about our parenting choices. No more wondering whether we should try to set boundaries again. We both knew boundaries only work on people who believe in respect. We settled into a rhythm. I started work in the Ghent office, smaller than the U.S. branch, but quieter, friendlier. I traded company jargon and long meetings for strong coffee and colleagues who biked to work even in the snow. Emma started nesting, but for real this time. Not defensively like before. She painted the walls of our flat, a pale green this time, Diane's least favorite color. She picked out a bassinet from a local craftsman. We built a life, one simple piece at a time. Then came the birth. 3 weeks early but smooth. Natural, fast, terrifying in the way all births are terrifying. I remember holding Emma's hand and thinking, this is it. This is the moment we become more than a reaction to someone else's toxicity. It was just us in that delivery room. No one handing out judgment. No one trying to steal attention. No one criticizing the baby's name, our baby's name, because we'd chosen it for joy, not approval. Our son came into the world with a scream that felt like a cleansing fire. We named him Rowan. Soft, strong. No family baggage. No Diane in the middle name. Just ours. Emma held him, and I swear I watched something in her face heal right there in that hospital bed. Like part of her brain finally shut the door on her mother, turned the key, and tossed it in the canal. A week later, I got curious. I don't know why, some stupid itch. I logged into an old dummy email I used for store coupons. It was still linked to a backup folder from Emma's Gmail. There were 11 voicemails from Diane. 11. They started sugary sweet. Emma, sweetheart. Just calling to see how you're doing. You've been distant and I worry. You know me, always overthinking. Call me back, okay? Then came the confused tone. Emma. I saw your Instagram is gone. Did something happen? Did Daniel make you delete it? Is he isolating you? Ah yes. The controlling husband narrative. Classic. By message 6, she was pissed. I deserve to know what's going on. I am your mother. And if you think you can just cut me out because your husband says so, you're making a mistake. You'll regret this. Message 9 was desperation. I had a dream last night that something happened to the baby. Please. Just tell me you're okay. I'll do anything. I want to be part of this. I deserve that. The last 2 were silence. Just ambient noise. She never hung up. Just let the phone record nothing, as if the sound of her own emptiness might be enough to draw Emma back. I didn't tell Emma about the messages. She didn't need them. She'd already built her goodbye with bricks and oceans. We weren't hiding anymore. We were gone. People say revenge should feel good. Like a high. A rush. But I didn't feel triumphant listening to those voicemails. I felt finished. That's what real revenge is. It's not burning someone's life down. It's making them irrelevant to yours. The funny thing about silence is that once you get used to it, noise feels like an invasion. 3 months into living in Belgium, with a healthy, colicky, utterly perfect Rowan in our arms and half-full coffee mugs littering the windowsill, the silence had become sacred. Emma was laughing again. Not politely. Not nervously. Laughing. Like she used to at the beginning, before every family dinner felt like an ambush and every holiday was Diane's stage play starring herself as the martyred single mother. Rowan was sleeping through the night on alternate Tuesdays like clockwork. I'd taken a short paternity leave 2 weeks, which in Belgium made my coworkers look at me like a barbarian, and I was working remotely the rest of the time. It was just us, the rain, the cobblestones, and the kind of life we'd always whispered about but never believed we could have. Then she tried again. It started with an email. A brand new Gmail address, her name followed by "just wanna talk," like she thought slapping on humility would erase a lifetime of narcissism. Emma, I'm reaching out with love. That's all. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm willing to change. I miss you every day. And I know you had the baby. A mother knows. Please, let me be part of your lives. I didn't show Emma. Not yet. Because here's what I knew, Diane didn't miss us. Not really. She missed control. She missed having someone to push around, someone to triangulate with passive aggression and fake tears. She missed being the center of a universe she only ever poisoned. I replied. Yup. I, Daniel, husband/barista waiter from my own wedding, replied to Diane. Just 2 words. You don't. 10 minutes later, another email. Is that Daniel? You think you can come between a mother and daughter? You'll ruin her like you ruined her wedding. Like you ruined everything. Ah. There it was. She still believed she was the victim at our wedding. The one who was forced to dismiss the waiters halfway through. Who was helping when she tossed the wedding cash into the garbage. Who accidentally gave away Emma's honeymoon gear. Narcissists always rewrite the story in a way that keeps their hands clean. So I wrote back one last time. She serves herself now. You're not on the guest list anymore. Blocked. We updated the spam filter to send any future messages to the void. I deleted the burner email the next day. Told Emma a few weeks later, once we were out with Rowan at a local Sunday market. She was holding a stuffed duck some kind old woman had handed our son, and the sun was cutting across her cheeks like a spotlight. When I told her Diane had reached out, her jaw tensed for just a second. What did she want? Forgiveness, probably. Access. Control. She nodded. Didn't ask to see the emails. Just said, I'm glad she doesn't know where we are. I said nothing. We bought vegetables and a second-hand onesie with little bees on the sleeves. That night, while Rowan slept between us in a makeshift nest of pillows, Emma turned to me and whispered, You didn't just protect me. You rescued me. And I think that's when I finally allowed myself to breathe. Diane's last card was played. And it flopped. Because we didn't yell. We didn't post about it. We didn't even answer the phone. We just left. We built a life so far out of her orbit she couldn't even find the sky we lived under. She'll grow old telling her version of the story. She'll say Emma was ungrateful, that I poisoned her daughter, that her grandson was stolen from her. And you know what? That's fine. Let her talk to the shadows. We have better things to do. There's this weird moment after revenge finally settles in, like ash after a fire. It's not what movies show you. There's no applause. No dramatic final monologue. No helicopter shots of the villain screaming "new" into the void. Real revenge? It's silence. It's sitting in a quiet apartment, hearing your son babble nonsense while stacking plastic cups and realizing, this is it. This is the win. That's what peace looks like. Not clean. Not polished. But honest. Our flat in Belgium was far from glamorous. 2 bedrooms, creaky floors, and a washer that made demonic sounds halfway through its spin cycle. The kitchen window fogged up if you so much as thought about boiling water. And there were always toys on the couch, under the couch, sometimes in the fridge because Rowan liked hiding things. But it was ours. And it was safe. Emma started making friends slowly. A mom's group at the local park, mostly Belgian women, a few expats, and one loud Texan who introduced herself as Janine with the big damn stroller. Emma came home glowing after the first meeting. She talked about how one of the moms had brought gluten-free muffins for another mom's kid and how no one made snide comments about too much parenting or raising a sissy. That's how low the bar was after Diane. Not being insulted felt like a miracle. As for me, I started walking to work. Just 20 minutes along a canal with ducks, old stone bridges, and enough fresh air to make me feel like I was living inside a meditation app. I still did the same QA job, just remotely now and with colleagues who were way too chill to schedule pointless meetings. Some nights, I'd carry Rowan around the apartment while humming whatever lullaby Spotify recommended. I'd watch Emma read on the couch, feet tucked under her, hair in a messy bun, face peaceful, and I'd think, This is the reward. Not Diane's tears. Not her desperate emails. Not even the fact that we'd cut her off so thoroughly she probably didn't know what continent we were on. It was this. A life not dictated by someone else's damage. One day, about 4 months after Rowan was born, Emma found an old photo buried in her email backups. It was from our wedding. A group shot. Us in the center. Diane, of course, planted herself in the foreground like she was receiving an Oscar. Her arm outstretched, her smile just a little too wide. Everyone else blurred behind her. Emma stared at it for a long time. Then she laughed. Not bitterly. Not sadly. Just a real, amused, surprised laugh. She really had to be the star, didn't she? I nodded. Should we delete it? I asked. She shook her head. No. Let's keep it. Just not in the baby album. That night, we made a new album on a shared drive, our real beginning. Just photos from Belgium onward. Rowan's wrinkly newborn face. Emma asleep with him curled on her chest. Me holding a bottle like it was a live grenade. No Diane. No old ghosts. Just us. And maybe that's what healing really is. Not pretending the fire never happened. But standing in the rebuilt house, holding your kid and knowing the match is long gone. I should have known Diane wouldn't go quietly. Narcissists never do. They don't fade out, they hover like the smell of burnt plastic in a microwave. Faint but nauseating. It had been 6 months since we left the country, changed our numbers, our lives, and brought Rowan into the world. By now, Emma's laugh didn't sound borrowed anymore. It sounded earned. She had crow's feet forming from smiling too much, and I swear to God, I wanted to kiss every single one of them. Then one day, Emma got a text from an old high school friend, Rachel. Or so we thought. It started casual. Hey, long time no talk. Hope you're doing great, smiley face. Emma blinked at it, confused. I haven't talked to Rachel in like 4 years. I shrugged. Maybe she saw the baby pics Janine posted on Facebook? Emma smiled. Maybe. Except, Janine didn't have our last name on Facebook. And we didn't post any baby pics. Strike one. The next message came an hour later. Your mom reached out to me. Said she's worried. She doesn't know where you are. That you're not safe. Is everything okay? That stopped Emma cold. I watched her face tighten, color drain from her cheeks. She didn't respond. She just handed me the phone. I stared at it. Cold fury rising in my throat like bile. There it was. The sneak attack. She couldn't reach Emma directly, so she did what controlling people always do when blocked. She found a proxy. Strike 2. Emma sat down hard on the edge of the couch. Do you think she got into Rachel's head? I shook my head. I don't think that's Rachel. I opened the message info. The number was new, not registered under any contact. I pulled out my laptop, opened a reverse lookup site. Bingo. The number was a VoIP account created 2 weeks ago, unlisted but hosted on the same service used by burner text apps. Strike 3. This wasn't Rachel. It was Diane. Emma started laughing. Dry. Bitter. Tired. She made a fake number pretending to be someone else, just to check if she broke us. I nodded slowly. Not just to check, I said. To wedge her way back in. She thought maybe, just maybe, she could guilt you. Make herself sound like the victim again. She's trying to Trojan horse her way back into your life. We blocked the number. Again. Changed Emma's WhatsApp settings to private. Made our accounts even more unsearchable than before. I deleted the message thread and emptied the cache like it was radioactive waste. And that night, while feeding Rowan mashed banana and wiping it off his eyebrow, how it got there is still a mystery, Emma looked at me and said, even if she begged, even if she cried in front of my doorstep one day, I don't think I'd ever want her to meet him. I didn't hesitate. She won't. There's something liberating about drawing a boundary so hard it becomes a wall. Not a door. Not a fence. A real, impenetrable wall with no gate, no ladder, no opening. We weren't just keeping her away from us. We were keeping us away from her. That's the part narcissists never understand. They think you're trying to punish them when really you're just trying to stop bleeding. We didn't hate her anymore. That would have required caring. She wasn't part of our pain. Not anymore. She was irrelevant. 3 weeks after the fake Rachel stunt, things had quieted down again. Emma had taken up watercolor painting in the mornings while Rowan napped in the sling on her chest, and had started doing nightly walks through the neighborhood just to watch the lights flicker in the canal. It felt like a rhythm, normal, lived in, and quiet. Then came the envelope. Handwritten. No return address. Belgian stamp. Emma found it wedged into our tiny brass mailbox like it had been forced there. She opened it at the table while feeding Rowan mashed sweet potatoes. He immediately took that moment to fling a spoon at the cat, who retaliated by knocking over Emma's paint jar. So the house was chaos. She barely glanced at the letter before passing it to me. I think this is for you, she said, rolling her eyes. I unfolded it, expecting some junk ad. But no, this was deliberate. Precise. And instantly rotten. It was from Aunt Linda. Except here's the thing, we don't have an Aunt Linda. Here's how it started. Dearest Emma, I'm writing to you with no judgment, only love. I've known your mother for over 30 years and I've never seen her more broken. She made mistakes, what mother hasn't? But to cut her off like this, to take her only grandchild and vanish, well, honey, that's not right. Oh boy. Here we go. I know Daniel means well, but it seems like he's isolated you. That's what controlling men do. They convince you to walk away from family and then they make it hard for you to come back. Emma was watching me read by now, eyes narrowed. She thinks I'm in a hostage situation, she said, half laughing. Next she'll say you've shaved my head and taken my passport. There are legal options, you know. Your mother doesn't want to pursue them, but others might. Ah, there it was. The veiled threat. Legal options. We'd reached the invisible lawyer phase. The rest of the letter was a mix of crocodile tears and Catholic guilt. Emma's duty as a daughter, the moral obligation to let her child know where he comes from. And my personal favorite. Your mother is praying for you every day. She lights a candle for you and little Rowan. I almost respected the effort. Diane had gone full method actress for this one, made up a fake relative, probably even bought the stamp from a Belgian corner shop just to make it look real. But she slipped. The postmark was smudged but not unreadable, shipped from Newark, New Jersey. So unless Aunt Linda has teleportation powers, this envelope made one hell of a detour. Emma didn't cry. She didn't even get angry. She just held Rowan a little tighter and said, she's not going to stop, is she? I shook my head. Not until we stop reacting. So we didn't. We didn't respond. We didn't call. We didn't send a cease and desist or post on social media. That's what she wanted, a ripple. Proof she still mattered. That her lines still pulled the marionettes. Instead, we burned the letter in our tiny stove. Rowan watched, wide-eyed, as the flames turned fake empathy into smoke. He laughed when it crackled. Emma smiled. Now that's a family tradition I can get behind. And that was it. No drama. No confrontation. Just another attempt turned to ash. There's something funny about freedom. At first, it feels like an absence. You don't realize its presence until you start filling it with the things that actually matter. That's what we did next. We stopped trying to escape Diane and started replacing her. With joy. With rituals. With peace. That fall, as Rowan started sitting up and grabbing anything remotely edible, and some things that weren't, Emma suggested we do something to mark the season. It was October. Belgian Octobers are all mist and cobblestones and falling leaves that somehow look like they were painted by a guy with way too much time and talent. We never had holidays growing up, she said one night while feeding Rowan mashed pear. Not real ones. My mom made Thanksgiving about how hard she worked. Christmas was all about what she didn't get. Birthdays were just days where she'd complain that no one appreciated her enough. I knew the feeling. My own childhood was a blur of group homes, beige walls, and state-issued socks for Christmas. No candles. No family recipes. Just cafeteria trays and the occasional social worker trying too hard. So we made something. We called it First Light. No religious ties. No specific meaning. Just a tradition we made from scratch. Here's what we did. We turned off our phones for 24 hours. Cooked one big meal together, from a recipe neither of us had ever tried. Made a fire, even if it was just in a cheap metal bowl on the patio. And we lit a single candle at sunset. Then we wrote down one thing we wanted Rowan to grow up believing, one truth. We folded the paper, sealed it, and dropped it into a wooden box. That was it. Simple. Quiet. Ours. We did it in silence that first year. Rowan was only half awake, swaddled in a too-big onesie with a picture of a hedgehog on it. But it meant something. Not just a break from the world, but a full reset. No drama. No guilt. No one sitting at the head of the table with veiled insults baked into their wine. Just us. Choosing each other over and over again. After Rowan went down for the night, Emma pulled out her journal and said something I'll never forget. I used to think healing would feel like proving her wrong, like finally getting the apology, or showing her what she missed. She looked up at me, eyes soft but clear. But I don't care anymore, because this is the apology I never got. This is the proof. And it didn't come from her. It came from us. That's the thing about starting your own family story. You get to write the chapters. You choose the tone, the values, the damn font if you want to. Diane? She'll never know about First Light. She'll never see Rowan read those folded truths when he's older. She'll never understand that family isn't biology or obligation. It's deliberate. And that might be the cruelest part of all. She's not just out of our lives. She's irrelevant to the story we're writing now. It came in the form of a Facebook message. Not to Emma. Not to me. To Janine with the big damn stroller. The message was short. From someone claiming to be Emma's cousin. One we barely remembered from a wedding years ago. She must have found Janine through a tagged post, a mutual friend, some breadcrumb we missed. The message read, I don't know if you're still in touch with Emma, but I thought she should know. Her mother had a stroke. It was serious. She's in a long-term care facility now. Can't speak. Might not recover. Figured she'd want to know. Janine messaged Emma right away. Kind. Gentle. Not assuming anything. Emma stared at the screen for a long time. She didn't say a word. Just stared. I was chopping carrots. Waiting. After a minute, she looked up and asked, Am I supposed to cry? I set the knife down. Only if you want to. She didn't. We sat on the floor that night after Rowan went to bed, listening to the little owl-shaped baby monitor buzz faintly. The letter from Emma's cousin sat open on the table, still unread by me. I didn't ask to see it. Emma finally broke the silence. I thought this would feel bigger, like I'd feel something shift. But it's like hearing someone I used to work with is sick. Not good, not bad. Just distant. And I knew exactly what she meant. Diane's power had never come from her presence. Came from our reaction to her. The way we braced, anticipated, explained around her. Once we stopped doing that, once we walked away and stayed away, she became something else entirely. An echo. Cautionary tale. Background noise in a life that no longer belonged to her. Still, Emma wrestled with it for a few days. Wondered if she should write something. Maybe send a note to the care home. Not to reconnect, just to say something. She drafted 5 versions. All of them began with, "I hope you're getting the help you need." None of them got sent. Because deep down, she knew what we both knew. We didn't owe her closure. Diane had her chances. Dozens of them. We gave her rope and she made a noose out of everyone. The apology never came. The humility never arrived. And now, the woman who once controlled rooms with a glance and could reduce Emma to tears with a single sentence couldn't even speak. And the world kept turning. Rowan learned to crawl that same week. Pulled himself up by gripping the edge of the coffee table, gave a big, goofy grin, and knocked over a mug of cold tea with his foot. We clapped. Laughed. Took a blurry photo. That moment, that was our family legacy now. No one else's name was on it. Diane won't die tomorrow. Maybe not next year. Maybe she'll recover enough to fire off one last manipulative letter. Maybe she won't. But even if she did, she'd be writing to people who had long since walked out of the theater and never looked back. Emma turned to me that night and said, "I thought I wanted revenge. What I really wanted was peace." She paused, then added, "But I'm glad it hurt a little. And you know what? So was I." Rowan is 3 now. He calls me Dada and Emma Mama with that soft, musical accent he's picked up from growing up around Belgians, Brits, and that one Danish kid at daycare who pronounces cookie like it's a threat. We live in a different apartment now, slightly bigger, still nothing fancy. But it's filled with light. There are fingerprints on the windows, crayon marks on the walls, and a dent in the kitchen floor from the time Rowan cooked a can of beans with a hammer. Emma teaches English part-time. I'm still in QA, still walking to work every day. My hair's grayer than it should be, my back clicks every time I sneeze, and yet I've never felt younger. Because we're not haunted anymore. Every once in a while, Rowan will say something that stops me in my tracks. Like the time he pointed at an old family on TV and said, "They have a mean lady. We don't have one of those, right?" And I looked him dead in the eye and said, "No, buddy. We don't." He doesn't know Diane's name. We never use it. He doesn't know she exists, and maybe one day when he's older and asks about grandparents, we'll tell him the short version. Some people lose the right to be part of your life. And that'll be enough. That's the part no one tells you about going no contact. It's not just about what you lose, it's about what you protect. The birthdays that don't get ruined. The holidays that aren't weaponized. The photos with no one standing in front, arms outstretched, demanding the spotlight. Diane used to say that blood is thicker than water. What she didn't understand was that the full quote is, "The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb." Which basically means the family you choose is stronger than the family you're born into. She'll never meet Rowan. Never hear his laugh. Never feel the weight of him curling against her chest on a rainy afternoon. She'll never get to tell him who he should be. Never plant her poison in his soil. Never touch a single piece of what we've grown. That's not punishment. That's protection. And it's the most powerful revenge of all. Because Rowan will grow up free. Loved. Whole. Not because we fixed the past, but because we chose to stop dragging it behind us like a rotted suitcase. We left the old map behind. We drew a new one. And she's not on it.